gratitude this morning for our music director, Rick Fortner, for his music that just, yes. And our choirs who sing with him. I just could feel my whole central nervous system just calming down with the music in here by just being together, being in this space where there's so many memories. I just felt even our collective sort of vibration just lower. There's so much happening in our world right now. There's so many things happening, obviously with the elections coming up and with all the rhetoric that's going out there to violence and attempted violence. So it's a divisive time, and so it's good to be together. I feel good being with you. I feel the goodness that is created when we do join together on Sunday mornings like this. Now, with our theme being gratitude this month, I seriously considered getting up here and telling you all the reasons why you should be grateful. I mean, I could remind you that you have a place to live and food to eat. More than half of the world's population only lives on $2 a day. 20% of the people on the planet do not have access to safe drinking water, whereas you can just turn on the faucet and get hot water and cold water, and it's drinkable. And you can read, and you have access to education. Now, for a minute, I thought that I might just get up here and tell you all of those things and 1,000 other things, reasons why you should be thankful. The problem is that I realize that's not going to do any good, that comparing our lives with other people's lives doesn't really make a person grateful. Maybe for a moment we feel a little better, but actually comparing is a big part of the problem. You know, think about Facebook. You know, most of us who use it, we show our best side on Facebook. I know I do. You know, the pictures I post are when my wife and I are out on the town having a good time, or we're out with friends. Maybe we go to a concert, or we're at the park with our daughter or our cute little dog. You know, that's the pictures and the videos that we post. I never post videos of when my wife is frustrated with me for not feeding the dog, or not putting away my laundry, or for leaving dirty dishes in the sink. No, there's a long list of things that I don't post on Facebook. I hope that nobody compares their real life with my Facebook life. You know, we have some friends who they send the most glorious and detailed Christmas letter every year. They're wonderful people. It's a great family. But I have to tell you, when I'm done reading about all the awards their children have won, their straight A's, their honor roll status, how their children chose to skip presents for their birthday and to give food to the poor, how the entire family fed the homeless on Thanksgiving. Even their pets are outstanding compared to mine. You know, my wife disputes this, but I swear one year they said that their cat changes its own kitty litter. Or something like that. There was something like that. Now, I can't help but compare their Christmas card kids with our children and our holiday traditions. And, you know, when I do, I feel like we're just a family of losers. It doesn't make me grateful, it makes me depressed. Barbara Pearl's dad, she frequently will bring this up when we start doing comparisons. He always used to say, comparisons are odious. That's a great word, odious. Tony Campolo, who is a liberal Baptist minister, he tells a story about comparisons. It was back at a time when his wife was staying home to take care of their two beautiful children, and he was a sociology professor at an Ivy League university. He said, my wife and I were expected to attend get-togethers with my colleagues and their spouses. And on more than one occasion, someone would ask my wife, he says, in what appeared to me to be a condescending manner, and what is it you do, my dear? My wife, who is one of the most articulate persons I know, found a perfect response for such occasions. In machine gun fashion, she would reply, I am socializing two Homo sapiens into the dominant values of the Judeo-Christian tradition so that they might be transformers of the social order into the kind of eschatological utopia that God willed for us from before the foundation of the earth. And then she would smile and ask, and what is it that you do? And the inquirer usually looked a bit flustered and rather meekly would say something like, I teach sociology. Comparisons are odious. They more often lead to depression and sadness than they do to gratitude. Now, another thing that keeps us from being grateful is that many of us are so busy, our lives have become so frenetic, so filled with technology and other things that we can't really get away. We can't just be and be alone and be in the moment. I heard comedian Louis C.K. on Conan O'Brien one time, many years ago. This was before his fall from grace for indiscretions. He was talking about why he was not buying his daughter a cell phone. But what he was really talking about was how so many of us try to avoid our feelings. He talked about how people use phones to avoid meaningful interactions with others and also avoid unpleasant feelings. He says, a person needs to build an ability to just be yourself and not be doing something. That's what the phones are taking away, is the ability to just sit there. That's being a person. Because underneath everything in your life, there's that thing, that empty, forever empty feeling. That knowledge that it's all for nothing and that you're alone. It's down there. And sometimes when things clear away, you're not watching anything, you're in your car, and you start going, oh no, here it comes, that I'm alone. It starts to visit on you, just this sadness. Life is tremendously sad just by being in it. That's why we text and drive, he said. People are willing to risk taking a life and ruining their own, because they don't want to be alone for a second, because it's so hard. At one point in the interview, he began to describe being alone in his car when the deep uneasiness hit him. He says, I go, uh-oh, I'm getting sad. Got to get out the phone and write hi to like 50 people. But then I said, you know what? Don't. Just be sad. Just let the sadness in. Don't stand in the way of it. Let it hit you like a truck and let it come. And I just started to feel, oh my God. And I pulled over and I just cried and cried so much, he said. And it was beautiful. Sadness is poetic. You're lucky to live sad moments. And then I had happy feelings, he says, because when you let yourself feel sad, your body has antibodies and it has happiness that come rushing in to meet the sadness. So I was grateful to feel sad. And then I met it with true, profound happiness. The thing is, because we don't want that first bit of sad, we push it away with a phone or with food or with some other compulsion or addiction, and then we never feel completely sad or completely happy. You just feel kind of satisfied with your product, and then you die. So that's why he explained, I don't want to get a phone for my kids. And he's right. We have so many ways today to avoid our feelings. And when we don't let ourselves feel the difficult emotions, then we often annest ourselves from a lot of our feelings, including our feelings of gratitude. One of the things that those of us who went to the memorial service at B'nai Emunah Synagogue earlier this week for the 11 Jewish people who were slain in Pittsburgh felt was in this service was that no one was trying to hide from the pain of it all. We weren't trying to ignore it. The situation was just too painful to pretend. And so in these outward expressions of hurt and fear and suffering, people felt nourished. I know it's weird to say that with these expressions of fear and suffering that people felt nourished. But what made it so was that the situation was so sad and we didn't try to avoid it. People are scared right now about the state of our nation, about the increase in violence and prejudice, the divisions and the divisiveness in our public discourse. And thanks to the space that the rabbis created for us that night, we were able to speak openly and honestly and publicly about what we were feeling. And there was a sense of recognition. Like, yes, let's name it. Let's acknowledge it. Let's sit with it. And out of that dismal place of unadulterated pain came hope. Where I think that Louis C.K. gets it wrong is that we're not utterly alone. We just feel that way sometimes. In fact, we are deeply interconnected. It reminds, and that's the other thing that the memorial service helped us to see how connected we are. Sometimes in tragedy, we begin to notice how important we are to one another. And that's the most important part of gratitude, is remembering our connections and how we need one another. Gratitude involves acknowledging our own limitations. I can't do this on my own. I rely on other people. And so gratitude involves a great deal of humility. Gratitude pushes us out of the myth of self-sufficiency. When we're grateful, we go beyond the illusion of being self-made. We are acknowledging that life is a gift that we are grateful for rather than a right to be claimed. We stop expecting the planet and the people around us to provide for us, but rather we see that we have so many blessings. Which takes me to another story by Tony Campolo about a student that he had who was an English literature major, who one day let him in on his disdain for the suburban lifestyle that his parents had embraced. The student said, "They do the same thing, day in and day out, my parents. They know nothing of the dizzying heights to which the likes of Friedrich Nietzsche and Lord Byron can carry us. They are characters out of a Beckett play who seem incapable of daring action. Their idea of entertainment is watching Lawrence Welk," he scoffed. Now, without being very gentle, Campolo said, "I let that student know if it were not for those prosaic parents of his, he never would have had the opportunity to know about Nietzsche and Byron. I reminded him it was that mundane job that his father routinely goes to each day that pays the bills for him to read Thus Spoke Zarathustra and to listen to Wagner's music. He goes on, what does a kid like that think? Is he totally unaware that we too hunger for something more? Does he not know that we all yearn for ecstasy? And has he no idea that we all crave the passionate life as much and maybe more than he does? We ordinary people have visions and dreams too. And the measure of who we are is that we are more than ready to let go of those cherished dreams and visions in order to do what has to be done so that our kids can have theirs. It's so easy to get caught up in our own stories, our own ups and downs in ways that make us forget how we need each other and how fortunate we are to have each other. We're not self-sufficient. We never have been. We don't create ourselves out of nothing. We depend on parents and friends, the universe, and yes, even the government to provide what we cannot provide for ourselves. As the Unitarian Universalist principle says, we are part of an interconnected web of all life. Life is a gift to be grateful for and received. Life owes us nothing, and yet it offers us so much. That's why we begin our services in this sanctuary every week with the words from Psalm 118. This is indeed a day which God has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Now, people have said to me, but Marlin, I don't know if I believe in God. I don't even know what the word God means, people will say. And I say that's fine, because this is less a claim about God than it is a statement about us. You and I, we didn't make this day. We couldn't make this day, even if we tried. The wind and the trees with their miraculously colored autumn leaves, the blue sky and the clouds and that shower us with rain, the birds, our breath, these ears that hear music, these hearts that feel. We didn't make these things. We couldn't. It's all a gift. So we begin the services in here each week in humility and awe and gratefulness. We didn't make this day, and yet here it is, with all its splendor, with all its tenderness, with all its possibilities. And we rejoice in it, at least for an hour, and we count our many blessings. We begin by giving thanks for eyes that see, and ears that hear, and hearts and hands that feel, and minds that understand and that think. It's amazing. And so we begin in humility and awe and gratitude. These are the pillars that hold up the cathedral of this church. And gratitude for life itself, and especially for the ties of love that bind us together through everything. Thankful that we're not bound together here by obligation or by guilt or by fear of punishment or by doctrines and creeds. It's love that brings us here. It's love that unites us. One of the great ways of cultivating love, keeping it fresh, making it feel real, is through our gratitude for one another. My message to you today is this: every day this month, find a way to be grateful. Find a way to say thank you and see what happens. I will have no doubt that you will be glad you did, and so will the people around you. So let me say thank you. Thank you for all you do for me. Thank you for all you do for my family and for this church. Thank you for the ways you support our congregation, the ways you help us to dream about our new facility in downtown, and all the things that we do and can be. Because when things are up or things are down, when things are hard, we have each other, and we're not alone. We are connected, and we are bound together by love. I love you. Amen.
You're visiting with us online today. We love connecting with people all across the country and around the world, sharing our powerful message of love beyond belief.
There's something new happening here. You can now join All Souls as a virtual member. Our virtual membership is designed for friends who live outside of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and who want to engage with All Souls in a meaningful way.
You can be part of an expanding family, a global family really, wherever you are. If you live in Oklahoma,
Ohio,
or Orange County, California,
Canada,
or Cameroon. By becoming a virtual member, you'll be able to deepen your connections with members and friends here in Tulsa and with members wherever you are.
Each week, you'll receive special All Souls content tailored for you, our virtual members. Virtual members have access to pastoral care, to personal prayers, and also receive invitations to exclusive web events.
You can learn more, and if you're ready, you can become a virtual member today by visiting allsoulschurch.org/virtual membership.
We're grateful our ministries are having a positive impact on your life, and we want to share the good news of love beyond belief with more and more people. So no matter what, we need your support to keep this ministry growing and thriving, so please consider making a gift today. You can do so by texting
LOVEBB for Love Beyond Belief to 73256, or simply visit our website. You are a blessing in our lives. May you be blessed.
And be a blessing.